Let's start off in Nigeria. The leadership of the Nigerian Labour Congress, NLC, and the Trade Union Congress, TUC, has declared a total nationwide strike effective next Tuesday, specifically November 14th, 2023. The action by the organized labor following the brutalization of the NLC National President, Ajaero, last week in Imo State. Now, there had been widespread outrage by the organized labor accusing the redeployed Commissioner of Police in Imo State, Mohammed Barde, of complicity in the attack against the president in Owerri, the Imo State capital. The organized labor last Friday handed the federal government a 5-day ultimatum to replace the police commissioner, while also blaming Governor Hope Uzodinma, who is seeking re-election, of the attack on Ajaero, though the governor had since said that he had no hand in the attack on the labor leader. The organized labor also demanded the arrest and prosecution of some of the governor's aides and threatened to embark on a nationwide industrial action if their demands were not met. And of course, to shed more light on this, I'm joined right now by Nelson Ekujumi, public affairs analyst, and also Stephen Olateju, social commentator, both joining from Lagos, Nigeria. Thank you so much for your time, gentlemen.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much.
Good evening, viewers.
All right, now I would like to start off with you, Stephen. Let's look at the motive of the strike itself, which is largely in solidarity against the attack, on the labor leader. Now, is this a valid reason enough to declare a nationwide strike on the country?
For me, it is a valid reason. A valid reason because what is happening to, or what happened to the president of the NLC has been happening for so long to an average, or let's say ordinary Nigerian. You don't just wake up one day and this kind of thing happens, and then there's nobody that takes action, nobody to protest. If this had been an average ordinary Nigerian, like I said, nobody cares. Nobody would have said anything. Nobody would have protested, and nobody would have come out to fight, for an ordinary Nigerian who does not have any power or connection whatsoever. It's just to tell you that in terms of our security setup, security apparatus, there are so many things going on that we need to correct in aspect of dehumanization of Nigerians and etc. So I think basically what happened in Imo State is an eye-opener to the rest of us that in Nigeria nobody is actually safe. And as far as you are not, whatever you are doing does not connect directly to the government of the state, it tells the fact that you, some people are more Nigerian than you are when you don't belong to the government of the state. You cannot oppose anything that they are doing. You cannot challenge whatever they you seem that they are not doing right. And that is exactly what happened in Imo State. Beating up the number one citizen of the whole workforce in Nigeria. You know the number of people they have in their rank. For you to go ahead under whatever these guys to beat up that person, that number one citizen of the entire workforce that we have in Nigeria, you should expect some consequences of that action. And as far as I'm concerned, the consequences of that action will be more than what the people of Imo State are currently experiencing, because you cannot just wake up, like I said earlier, and do something like that. It's not acceptable as far as I'm concerned, because we have to first of all be Nigerian and expect every other person's opinion. That is the joy of democracy. Because it's not democratic for you to stop that person in the first instance. So
all right, Stephen, your point is well taken, right? You are definitely in support of the strike, but I would like to move to Nelson right now to know his thoughts on this. Do you think that the attack on the labor leader is a valid reason, to sort of put the country at a halt, through a strike action from Tuesday?
Well, the attack on the labor leader is condemnable. We must be very frank with it. But calling on the organized labor to ground the whole country because of an alleged attack, one, we don't know what transpired. And we all know that we are a country that is governed by laws. Does it mean tomorrow, Ekujumi, if I belong to a group and I'm attacked somewhere, that I should take the law into my hands and go and shut down the place? Can I be the accuser, the judge, and the jury? Is that justice? The labor is behaving more like a court group now. You have alleged that your leader was attacked. There are channels for ventilating your grievances. If I'm attacked, I should go to the police and make a report.
I'm sorry, Nelson. I might just need to call you, back on this. You said the labor is behaving more like a cult group. That is
like a cult.
That is a strong allegation. I mean, if you had to go by the definition of the word, I believe the word. Can you please spell the cult? Is it the C-U-L-T?
What I mean by that is that they are behaving like a lawless group. And a cult is a lawless group.
Okay, on what grounds, please?
Pardon?
What grounds? What are the parameters?
But because you have the powers to apply the weapon of a strike, an incident has occurred to you. Go and I think the labor leaders or the labor as a body should be availed the Nigerian labor laws. The labor law does not say if the president or any member of the labor union is involved in a fight, that you should, and maybe is the one who is at the receiving end, as much as we condemn any act of violence, it does not give you the right to go on a strike. But in this case, the labor unions have come out. We have seen the picture of the labor leader. Nobody is commenting that, oh, what happened to him is good. But what we are saying is that we're a country governed by laws. Where has he reported that incident? Because you have the weapon of strike in your hands, it means you want to shut down the whole country. And also, where is it written in our laws that whenever anything happens to a labor leader, that the next thing to do is to call for an indefinite strike? No, that is not democratic. That is not civilized, if you ask me. And as a Nigerian, I see it as an affront on the rest of us Nigerians who are not members of the labor unions. Because if you look at the population of the working force, the organized labor is less than 5% of our population. We have over 80% in the informal sector. I belong to the informal sector. So as much as I condemn violence, I condemn this strike in its totality. This is not the way to go about it. We're a country governed by laws. The Nigerian Labour Congress and its affiliates should explore our laws. Who have they reported to? You say your member was attacked, and the next thing you are calling a strike. Okay. It means you have already decided you are the accuser, you are the judge and the jury. You have already convicted of your alleged. Is that how justice runs? Justice runs on both parts. Even in the court of law, if somebody is accused of murder and it is incontrovertibly, established that there's murder, the court will also want to hear from the accused. That is the right to fair hearing. The court will not say, oh, because we have a corpse here, they said you are the one that killed him, then you should be hanged. The justice does not run on a single way. That is my position.
Okay, I mean, I would like to know Stephen's take on this, in terms of your reaction. But in addition to that, the group actually did place some demands, and one of which is that the CP, that's the Commissioner of Police in the state, that's Imo State, Mohammed Barde, be replaced, of which we saw that happen recently through an action by the IGP. Do you think with all of this happening, the group should have in any way shifted grounds or still insisted on going on a strike? What's your take on it, Stephen?
Okay, as far as I'm concerned, once again, if some of the demands of the labor union, some of their demands are met. Yes, you can kiss ground and say, okay, they would ought, the call for or to proceed on strike action against the federal government of Nigeria. But I also want to, before I delve further into that, I want to say that this issue of strike, has been something on the table for a while. And considering the fact that, they're just having a new government in place, they've been careful not to proceed on strike, being Nigerian, understanding the fact that, okay, the new government has to settle in order to put things in place. And that's why the labor union has not actually gone on strike. But what is happening here?
Announcements, even with this new administration, just recently, how they have announced strike actions, even though at the end of the day, they end up calling it off. At some point, it even seemed like anytime we see this announcement, people almost might not want to take it, seriously. So I don't know, I'm trying to put it side by side what you just said, that they haven't really gone on any strike action or, raised any form of discontent with the current administration. So how do we resolve this?
It's because labor union has actually been lenient, on the current government. And so nobody can say that the labor union happens to be set of people that are not understanding, that are not giving peace a chance. So let me tell you what is happening here. You don't more like you are sitting on the edge of gunpowder. So they've been wanting to go on strike, but they say, okay, let's give this government a chance, to settle and all of that. Then all of a sudden, you within your party, you are doing something that is tantamount to being undemocratic. Because however it is, anywhere in the world, you have processes in place, just like my colleague in your studio affirmed. You have processes in place. So the police is part of the security architecture of Nigeria, controlled by the federal government. Why would the leader or the commissioner of police and other head of security in that state challenge the labor union in the first instance? Why brutalize the president of Nigeria, Nigeria Labour Congress? All of these things, when you put them together, you get to understand that there is an undertone. And let's just be clear. Now, if I listen to the governor of Imo State himself, Governor Ekujumi, he said that the labor leader cannot be on two sides. It cannot be the head of the labor union and at the same time a political leader in the opposition. And this is what led to all of that. Are you saying that when somebody has an opposing view or the person doesn't belong to your party, he cannot have a say on how the government or have a say on what he is supposed to say or have opinion, or it cannot be heard? That's what you are saying. You are trying to oppress, the opposing views. And it does not work. And when you are saying you are practicing democracy, yes, our democracy, we nurture it. You nurture the democracy, by beating people up, mercilessly and helplessly. Like I said earlier, if this has happened to someone like me that you don't know, that nobody cares about, would you be talking about this? It's because it's happening to somebody that we know, and we are saying that this is not, it cannot be, it's not acceptable. And for me, anywhere, any day, anytime, I will condemn it, and I'll continue to condemn it. So whatever the NLC needs to do to stamp its feet and let it be known to everyone who cares that NLC is still the NLC that we used to know, and they still have the foot soldiers everywhere, to gather support for whatever actions they are calling for. Yes, it should be known to everyone that has participated in this brutality of the NLC president.
Okay.
It is on call for basically.
All right. Stephen, I might just need to cut in here. Stephen, I know that you're really passionate, and of course, I think your point has actually been established. But I want to go back to you, Nelson, right? I want to pick up from part of the things Stephen said. He made reference to the governor of Imo State. And the governor of Imo State, that's Hope Uzodinma, he actually accused the Labour leader of not differentiating between Labour issues and his interests in local politics of the state.
As a politician. Yes,
so, I don't know, but do you find this particular summation, this allegation, credible?
Well, it's an allegation. For us to establish the veracity of what he has said, we need to set up a panel of inquiry or maybe take it to a court of law. Don't also forget that the labor unions have also made allegations against the police. I can't say because the labor union have alleged the commissioner of police, the area commander, as well as the DPO, then I will take it hook, line, and sinker. That is not rational for me as a being. Excuse me. If you have alleged somebody, it behoves on me to hear from the other party, to investigate, to know whether your allegation is legitimate, is genuine, and not maybe you are trying to rope that person into this allegation and hold him liable for what has happened to you.
Okay, just to give a bit of background to this, there was a time in an interview the Labour leader actually did link the NLC to the Labour Party, right? Saying that at some point that maybe the Labour Party is an offshoot of, and he was extensive in that interview, even though, there were reactions as regards that. So would you want to say maybe there's some sort of linkage?
No, absolutely there's linkage. The truth of the matter is that the Labour, the NLC president has shown himself as a partisan politician in our political space. We have seen him openly make it known that he's a member of the Labour Party, and the party is his party. If he's going for a campaign in Imo State, we will agree that he has the right to run on that political party platform as a member of that party. But for him to go there and try to instigate violence, like the governor is trying to allude, well, I wasn't there. We have not heard from both parties. We have heard from the governor. Excuse me once again. We have heard from the governor. We have heard from the Labour leader. These allegations are flying. It is our responsibility as Nigerians, as rational beings, to look at these allegations and investigate deeper. I won't run with any allegation anybody makes until I have investigated and I have verified.
All right.
So that the NLC president has openly been partisan, is something that is public knowledge, and it's worrisome to a lot of people that the way the NLC president is going about the activities of his leadership of the NLC, it will run that organization into crisis. Because you can't be the leader of the labor union and be involved in partisan politics. They are members of the NLC, as well as other trade affiliates, who are members of other political parties, who don't subscribe to the Labour Party. So if you are a Labour Party, you need to differentiate between party and Labour issues. And I think that is it's my thinking. I think that is why he ran into stormy waters in Imo State. Whoever was responsible for that, one expected him, because he's an adult, he's rational, one expected him to have put it in writing to the appropriate authorities, and not for him, as well as his colleagues, to now use the organ of the labor union to fight his personal battle. And that is the problem some of us have with this strike that is being called. That we are not in support of it, because the issues that happened in Imo State are still very easy. We need to determine, was it that the man was involved in a fight? Was it because of his labor issue? Was it because of party campaign? Whatever be the grounds, we must condemn violence in any form. Nobody should be brutalized. But the NLC needs to take it softly. The NLC needs to be rational. They have to take the interests of Nigerians as a whole into considerations in everything they are doing. Then the NLC as a body needs to separate itself from partisan politics. So long as it continues to be involved in partisan politics, people will continue to question, its sincerity, its integrity, and its credibility.
Well, I would like to go back to you, of course, Stephen. One of the issues that, of course, came up during the, face-off that happened in Imo State between the Labour and the security agencies there is that the Imo State government claimed that there was a court injunction preventing a protest, that the union violated the law. And of course, this come in conflict with issues of fundamental human rights, particularly, right to association and, of course, right to protest. Now, how do you react to this and also reconcile this side by side, the issue of victimization that you mentioned or that you were trying to, of course, highlight in your analysis, and also the issue of human rights violation here? Okay,
I heard about that there was a court injunction preventing the labor union from protesting in Imo State. But according to the information by the labor union, as of today, I listened to them yesterday and I followed up to this morning. They said the court injunction has expired. It expired because they were served one notice, and then the government of Imo State said that the court issued another restriction, and they were placed on notification. Meanwhile, the labor union said they didn't receive any injunction to stop the protest, the planned protest in Imo State. However, it is, we have heard from both sides, and everybody in this case, everybody will try to justify reasons why action A was taken and why action, the other party will also justify why action B was taken. But in all of this, we have seen protests in other climes. We see even police. I watched even recently the current, there are so many protests going on. I don't just want to be mentioning countries involved because we are talking local matters here, local politics. There are other ways, other mechanisms that you can use, to manage situations. Now, there were allegations on the police of kidnapping the NLC president. It was not seen for some hours. That's number one. There is analysis. It's not, when you say it, I don't see it as an allegation any longer. At that point, it was alleged that the man was beating, that the NLC president was beating black and blue. So later on, we saw the evidence that, actually this man was beating black and blue too. Now ask yourself, by who? Who perpetrated such a mass? I'm saying again, in this country, nobody is actually safe. Nobody is actually, I see that anybody that wants to support or that supports whatever the government of Imo State has done actually belongs to the opposition, to the ruling party. So if you support what is happening right now, especially some of the things that are happening when it comes to this of police brutality and administration of police brutality, and that is one of the protests that we have in this country, and people have come out to call.
Are you suggesting, Stephen, are you suggesting that there is more of a political undertone in all of that is happening there rather than what we're seeing?
Yes, I'm going there. That's what I'm saying. We are talking of issue of police brutality and all of that. So it is against, democratic, tendencies. And then, issue of political undertone. I told you earlier that, yes, the government, the ruling party is at the end of affair at the federal level and at the end of affair at Imo State. Yes? So now, it is clear that the labor union, yes, belongs to Labour Party. Definitely, the Labour has always been an opposing view to the or opposition to the government, any government of the state. I've been following this right from the time of Adam Kochomole. Now, when people now say that the Labour leader has to separate partisan politics from Labour union, See, nobody expected that today that the Labour Party will have the kind of acceptance that they have and the leverage that they are enjoying today. Nobody ever saw it coming. The political party as Labour Party has always been there, being managed and controlled by the Labour, the organized Labour. See, everybody can go and find out this. No, why is it that now they are in the limelight that all of these are coming up? Why is it today? The former NLC president was there. The party was existing. At least we saw that some people even came up under the platform of the Labour Party to contest elections. Now that they've had a national coverage, everybody is now antagonizing the president for being a partisan politics. Now, are you going to say that the Labour should register itself from the political platform it comes to serve as a check and kind of balance to the ruling party? Because the essence of Labour, as I see, now is to work with the government of the day, number one. That's number two, then, if the government of the day seems to not be doing something that will beneficial to the generality of Nigerians that they represent, yes, the Labour will also serve as an opposition to the government, because Labour is there to always call the government of the day to question and tell them the right to do as far as the people are concerned.
I would also like to take... Stephen, I mean, yes, I just wanted to cut in here because you've said so many things. I'd like to take Nelson's reaction to some of the things that you have said, and also his take on there was, according to the Imo State government, a court injunction preventing the protest. And of course, we saw what happened. What's your take?
That the responsibility to enforce any court judgments is that of the police and not the Imo State government.
And do you think they went about it the right way?
Well, I don't know. And the allegations is still flying, so it will be irrational of me to just jump into a
I mean, we saw when the Labour leader came out, we saw how his face looked like. Probably can come on the screen.
Yes, I condemn. Hold on,
okay.
Hold on, just a minute. I condemn that brutalization. But I don't have the facts of the matter, because he has said, if somebody tells you Nelson Ekujumi beat him, will you just, because you saw wound on that person, accept it as a valid truth? Won't you want to investigate that? Where did you see Nelson Ekujumi? Where were the two of you? Who were your eyewitnesses? That is how it runs in any national society. Then, please, again, you talked about fundamental human rights. You must recognize one thing: no right is absolute. That is why a court of law can restrict your movement within a geographical territory. The police can also restrict your movement if they feel there's a threat to your life. That is part of their responsibility. No right is absolute. Rights come with responsibility. So don't believe because you have a right to associate, then maybe I should be a member of Boko Haram or be a member of an armed robbery gang and say I'm exercising my fundamental human right to association. No, it doesn't run that way. What we are saying here is that allegations are flying. No party must take the laws into their hands, which is exactly what the Nigerian Labour Congress and the TUC are trying to do. You have made an allegation. Now you are the judge. You are the jury. You now determine who is guilty and who is not guilty. That is no longer an allegation now. You have already concluded the case. That is my own grudge. If you have made an allegation, allow another party to investigate and come up with the findings. Oh, the allegations you made, they were genuine, we investigated it. Yes, it is as you said, blah, blah, blah. But in a situation whereby you made an allegation, you have gone ahead to make your own findings, and you are making your own conclusion, and you want me. Where I come from,
well,
I'm a Yoruba man. Yoruba say, Ika kan lo ma gbo, Ika kan lo ma da. One man cannot run the wheel of justice. That is why we have the judiciary, which is an impartial habitat in any dispute that comes from anywhere. So it is not right for Labour to make these allegations and go ahead to pass judgment on an issue they have alleged. So for me, it's no more an allegation. It's like they have a predetermined end. And this thing is playing out the way they want.
All right, gentlemen. I mean, we're pressed with time. We would have loved to, of course, continue with the conversation, but I just have to let you gentlemen go. Once again, thank you so much for your time. Nelson Ekujumi, public affairs analyst, and of course, Stephen Olateju, social commentator, both joining in from Lagos, Nigeria. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you very much
Thank you
for having me.